Do you have a suspect?
Yes,
You do.
we do. But we don't have a motive for you.
Oh. I am the suspect. How interesting. Well, finding a motive should be a piece of cake for a couple of clever men like you. And I promise you I will not disappear before your very eyes when you come to arrest me.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Colombo Confab podcast. I am Steve.
And I'm Mike Lally, I guess. I'm the old man in this episode that sits on a bed drinking beer.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we're going to talk about him.
Oh, we are? Oh, great. He's going to be a talking point. Oh, I won't say anything.
Yeah, he's going to be a very important talking point. And anyway, we're going to talk about the Great Santini and
Colombo goes to the guillotine.
No, it's Colombo. No, it's Now You See Him. Sorry, everybody. I just had a stroke. I just forgot the name of the frickin' episode, even though I know it. Like
the side of your face just
crucial...
went down. That's weird.
Yeah.
How'd you do that? It's a magic.
Somebody, like half the people listening to this, God damn it! I've had a stroke. I'm not listening to this shit anymore.
Uh-oh.
They are stroke phobic. We're whatever. They're strokists.
You're a strokist. Yeah.
Yeah, I better just drop the joke.
I stroke it all the time.
Oh, God. All right.
Let's see. We're only a minute and 26 seconds in, and we already started. Wow, that's is that a record?
Wow. Yeah. The old people are going to be so mad that listen to this. All two of them. Okay, so this is starring, of course, Jack Cassidy. This is our final Jack Cassidy episode. Mm-hmm. There are no more Jack Cassidy episodes after this.
That's sad.
We've done all. We've covered the trifecta. We've done all the Robert Culps, all the Patrick McGoowans, and all the Jack Cassidys, as well as George Hamilton and William Shatner, who did two each.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so Jack Cassidy as the Great Santini. So the character really doesn't have a first name, which I don't know if that's a first in Colombo. I mean, he does have a first name, we find out later, but as we refer to the character throughout the episode, there is no, like, John Santini or Mario Santini or anything like that. Yeah, so.
Mario. There is another
Italian.
episode. Yeah, I know. There is another episode. I just, like, you go straight to Mario when you think of Italian. There is another episode where we don't know the murderer's first name.
Which one was that?
And that is Death Lends a Hand, where Robert Culp plays Brimmer, and he is never given a first name. In the Colombo file book, he's just listed as Investigator Brimmer. And I remember actively trying to look for his first name, and it's never mentioned in the episode. So
interesting.
Yeah. So this fun fact: name two murderers who rhyme with Santini, whose names rhyme with Santini.
I can think of one, but it's escaping me. I know it's the Ennio Port. What was the name of the brothers in that? That was the Marino
Santini. No, not the Marino brothers.
The Marino brothers. No,
they don't make wine.
It's the opposite of the Marino brothers. What was the name of the family?
The Luigi brothers. It's Carsini.
The Carsini. Okay, yep, the Carsinis.
And then Barsini the painter. Barsini the painter in Murderous Self-Portrait, which was like that was the episode 2, I think.
Wow.
We did that a long time ago. That was our first 90s episode.
Wow.
Yeah. So
glad that's behind us.
No, don't be a poo head. All right, so tell us how this story begins, sir.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was drinking my beer while I was sitting in bed. Let's see. So we are introduced to the Cabaret of Magic. I really wish things like that still existed. That was really a really 70s, early 80s kind of thing, I guess, huh? Kind of a themed restaurant where you go see a magic show or a murder mystery or something like that.
Yeah. Somebody we may know does things like that with murder mystery parties.
There is somebody I know. Yeah.
That would be me, yeah. If you happen to live in the Austin, Texas area, September 21st. Right? No, don't quote me on that. September. No, in September and October. But anyway, never mind. I do that. That's part of what I do. But when I was a kid,
Yeah.
for my birthday, my mom brought me to something similar to that, and it was a little bit more informal. And it was called Sally's Stage. And it was this lady called Sally, and she would sing and dance. And then they had, it was almost like a vaudeville thing. And I remember it very well because in the front area, they had an arcade. And that was the very first time I played Pac-Man. My mom gave me a quarter or whatever it was, and I played
shut you up,
Pac-Man. Yeah. and boy, did I suck at it. I sucked at Pac-Man.
So how old were you?
I was probably 7, so this is in Chicago. I have since Googled it, and there's a few things that I found about it, but yeah. It really wasn't much of a kid-friendly place. It wasn't like Chuck E. Cheese.
I was about to say, that's in a Chuck E. Cheese or Showbiz Pizza or something like that.
Yeah, it was, because I remember they had, a bar room with those mechanical bowls that people ride on. They had one of those.
Oh wow!
So it was literally a little bit more like an actual vaudeville cabaret type place than a formal supper club like this. I'm sorry, that has nothing to do with the episode itself.
No, not at all. You're just talking about yourself, really.
Well, you used to work at the Magic Time Machine in Dallas,
right?
And that's kind of like a weird.
That would be very similar to this kind of restaurant, yeah. But
yeah.
Anyway, so we see the great Santini. He is prepping, I guess, the murder weapon with a hearing aid device. He's going to plant it so he can get to it. I feel like I'm going to give away too much at the beginning. So we just see Santini prepping for the murder.
95% of the people listening to this have already seen it.
I hope so.
Positive.
So
this is one of the more famous episodes.
And we also find out there's the owner of the Cabaret of Magic, Jesse Jerome, and he's a real hard ass. No one likes him.
And he sweats a lot.
He's a compulsive sweater.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Can I add a fun fact?
Oh, you're not gonna let me finish now. I see.
What? No. You mentioned Jesse Jerome, and I want to say a fun fact about the actor.
Yeah.
His name he's got a really cool name, Nehemiah Persoff. Okay. And he is still alive.
Oh.
And as of August 2nd, which is 2 weeks ago, he turned 100. He is 100 years old.
Wow! Congratulations. Yeah. Jeez, 100.
I don't really know why I looked that up, but
it's all that shrimp off the Yucatan coast that he eats. That
and the Kool-Aid that he's drinking. I hate that. Do you ever notice that in movies? Whenever there's someone's drinking wine, it doesn't look like wine.
No, it's too bright. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how I want to spend my life. I want to sit behind a nice desk like that, eating shrimp from the Yucatan, of course, and drinking red wine. That would what a wonderful life to have. And counting money. That would be great. I would
I like that. And using a typewriter. And sweating, apparently. He was sweating in that scene. I mean, we find out.
I guess he's saving money on not using the AC. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. He's got to be a cheapskate, right? He just doesn't want to spend money. He likes to.
If he fucking locks the door, while he counts his money, that's the sign of a real.
Yeah, he's a real Scrooge McDuck there, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Scrooge McDuck. That's exactly what he is, Steve. Scrooge McDuck.
So apparently Jesse Jerome has some dirt on the great Santini, aka Sergeant Mueller or Sergeant Stefan Mueller. Apparently he was in Germany working for the SS in one of the labor camps.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And he found out because he's got a letter from somebody. I didn't pick that part up, even though I've seen this 200 times, but he has a letter from somebody, and he's going to expose.
You recognized him, yeah.
Yeah, Santini. Apparently, there was an old man that came into the club that recognized him years ago, and Jerome paid him off, and basically he's going to blackmail Santini because he knows Santini's an ex-Nazi.
So
And there's perfect motive, actually.
I've got a side murder, I think, that could have happened. It's not really brought up. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they don't really discuss it in this episode, but if Santini or Stefan was really as bad as he was supposed to be in his past, and he's willing to kill Jerome, I think he would have taken the money that was to pay off this one guy who recognized him, and he would have killed him anyways. Because he wouldn't want that unknown be out there. He wouldn't want somebody who could change their mind any moment and end up telling the Israelis, for example, that there's a Nazi. I think he would have done something to make sure that wouldn't happen.
I agree. I definitely agree, especially if it's an old man. But
Yeah.
I don't know why, especially if it's an old man. But yeah, I agree that he should have done that. But apparently, the old man died anyway.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that Jerome is doing.
Hey, wait a minute. Maybe he did kill the old man.
That's what I'm saying. I think he did.
Oh, okay.
But it's not discussed at all. I just would be surprised that the character that Santini is in this episode, I don't think he would put that to chance. What if the guy at a bar tells somebody, and then that word gets out and gets spread? I think he would have taken care of it eventually. But it's never brought up. I'm just opining about that.
Fancy words.
Oh, thank you. So Jesse Jerome uses this as blackmail against Santini, and so he gets 50% of the cut of every performance Santini does. Not just at the cabaret, but also, I guess, if he goes to Vegas or wherever. But Santini has had enough. He doesn't want to pay him 50% because he's bleeding him. What do you say? Bleeding him dry or something. Mm-hmm. So he only pays him 5%. Well, that's where I guess the issue arises. Jerome says, "You owe me $45,000. Pay it up before the show starts tonight, or I go to the press with the letter."
Mm-hmm.
But which is weird because Santini has been planning before that threat went down. Santini was planning his murder at the very beginning of the episode.
Okay, yes, that's true. But Santini, remember Jerome says, "You weren't the one that got into my office and looked through my papers, were you?"
Oh, right, yeah.
So Santini probably saw that he had that paper, and he knew he was probably going to kill Jerome anyway, even if Jerome hadn't put that proposal, put that offer he couldn't refuse down on the table. Mm-hmm. So because of this, of course, that's why that evening Jerome begins typing a letter to the Immigration and Naturalization Service telling them that Santini is an ex-Nazi.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that basically seals his fate there. But yeah, what happens next, Sean? I'm trying to remember.
Well, okay, so he does his magic show that evening, and of course, I have to admit something. I've been to a few magic shows, and I don't know if magic has gotten a little bit more complicated over the years, but his magic show was kind of lame. Just standard, like...
And there were a lot of, rough cuts of the camera that, they would show his hand, and then his hand stuttered to another position where all of a sudden he had a deck of cards. It's it was so obvious they used editing to kind of do the magic, but...
And there is one trick that he did where he held out a silk hanky, or not a hanky, but a silk scarf, and when he took it away, there were a vase full of flowers on the table. But the way that he was holding the handkerchief, everybody would have been able to see behind it, including the two people that were sitting at that table.
Right.
So they would have seen what he did.
Yes, I think somebody was under the table with the vase of flowers.
Yeah.
And when he put the handkerchief up, he just placed his arm up on top of the table and took his arm back down. It had to be what they did.
The highlight of his magic show is that he's going to climb into this cube, this treasure chest type cube, and it's going to be lowered into a big tank of water.
Right.
And he's going to remain in that cube for, I think it's 10 minutes, or I don't know how many minutes of air he has in there, 9 minutes and 12 seconds. And then supposedly they are going to remove the cube from the water, and he's going to pop out. But that's not really what happens.
No.
He gets inside of the cube, and of course there's a trap door underneath the cube, so he gets down into the basement where his little quote-unquote office is.
Well, and it's funny because when they lift the cube to put it into the tank, there's no obvious door or anything like that in the stage, right? I mean, it was a perfectly solid wood floor.
Yeah, there were a couple shots of the stage, no trapdoors on the stage. And I can't help but wonder if he's performing this act all over the world, what if he, do they build a trapdoor on the stage?
Have to, yeah. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, or maybe, yeah. So while he's down in his quote-unquote office, he dresses himself up as a waiter, a child molester waiter.
Jeez, and this steals from that. What's that cruise episode? That's what it reminded me of. What was the one where he goes on a cruise?
Oh yes, Troubled Waters.
Troubled Waters. Yes.
That's right. That's it exactly. Yes, fantastic. So he dresses himself up as a waiter, leaves his office, walks through the kitchen where no one notices him.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, he also sets up a little. I don't know what you call it. Not a trap, but he sets up a situation so when his nightly brandy comes downstairs, that he's able to interact with the waiter, which will give him an alibi for being downstairs. So he's got this. He's got a microphone and everything set up inside his office and whatever. So yeah, he goes upstairs. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that is an important part.
That's okay. So he goes through the kitchen, goes upstairs. And Jesse Jerome is in his office counting the money or whatever.
No. He's typing the letter. He's typing the letter.
Oh, he's typing the letter. That's right. I'm sorry.
Department. Right. And so he just installed a new lock, which is supposed to be unpickable. It was something he specially ordered because he wanted a lock that no one could pick into. I guess he was really concerned about security, Santini breaking in. I guess whatever. But he has a special lock. And we found out one of Santini's many talents is his ability to pick almost any lock. He's very good at it. Mm-hmm. But anyways, he comes into Jerome's office. Jerome stands up to see if somebody walked in, and he shoots him in the heart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he goes on. And also, one of his other talents is he's very good at impersonations, and he calls the kitchen. He says, "Can you bring me up my coffee?" He does it in Jerome's voice, saying, "Can you bring me up a cup of coffee?"
And he takes the letter out of the typewriter and also the incriminating letter, and subsequently burns it. In the meantime, I'm sorry, is it before or after the murder that he does the trick with the microphone?
Well, it's right before the murder. Yeah, because the waiter brings his brandy, which helps settle his nerves, but
calms the nerves.
Yeah, but so the waiter never goes into his office. He just leaves the drink outside, but he plays a trick with numbers. And he goes, think of a number. If I guess it correctly, or how's it work? I already forgot.
You pick a number, think of a number from 1 to 4. Yeah. And he's like, okay, I've thought of one. It's number 2. And he's like, okay, pick up the skull on the table, and underneath the skull is a piece of paper that says, "I knew you were thinking of number 2.
Right.
Simplest magic trick ever. Yet I've done it to friends and family members many times, and they're astounded. So
really, you've done this in real life. That's great.
Yes. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, if I had more time, I would learn more magic. I really would, but I really just don't have the time.
That's not magic, though. That's just, I don't know. Would you?
None of it is magic. The cube trick isn't magic. It's just mind trickery. So.
We forgot to mention Santini has a daughter named Della, and she's got a thing going with the lounge singer of the cabaret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I guess the only thing that he sings is charade. La 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 la. La,
please don't.
It's an Academy Award-winning song, sir. I don't know if it is or not, but anyway. Did you notice that when they were... mind you, I've watched this a lot. Back when I used to record these on VHS, this was like the second one that I recorded, and I would, because since I had it the longest, I would, ad nauseum, like a little kid watching Frozen or something. And what's that song from Frozen?
I never watched it. I really.
Let it go, let it go.
Oh no! Here we go.
Shut up.
Even
phone.
your phone wants you to be quiet.
So let me.
Okay, so part of the trick. Let's just move forward from your singing, and so part of the trick is Santini's daughter will go through the trap door back into the tank, and how do they keep it sealed on the bottom though?
I don't know. It's a good question because when she opens it to climb in, some water falls out, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Which means that it's not. Oh, I did want to ask you. I know what I was going to.
Hmm.
Did you catch? Throughout this whole thing, we're getting like reaction shots of people in the audience. There was one guy sitting at the bar in a brown jacket that was fucking just enthralled at the whole thing. Like,
No, I didn't notice this.
he was totally acting his socks
Where
off.
was he sitting at the bar?
I think he was sitting at. I don't know.
Like the
There's,
left
one-
side or the right side?
The side closest to the stage.
Okay.
But they showed his reaction, like when he was about to climb into the cube. He's got this reaction on it, like someone's just announced there's been a murder or something, and then when he comes out of the cube, or when she comes out of the cube at the end, he gets all hooray, hooray, hooray.
He's had a lot to drink. Okay, that's
Yeah. And they also have the same loop of like 10 seconds of the. And it's the drummer doing his suspense drum music, but it's the same loop of 10 seconds done over and over again because
Wait,
you can hear
what
the
was that
audience
sound again?
noise.
Oh, I thought you were doing like the Jason Voorhees sound. Oh, okay.
No, that's
Jason. He's gonna stab me. He's gonna cut my head off with a machete.
It's not. The Jason Voorhees is supposed to be like kill. Mommy, kill.
Okay, okay, thank you. Having that in my headphones does not help. Thank you.
Kill Jason.
Okay, so Santini is on the stage, but he's one of the people that's wearing like a black hood mask thing, almost like what you would think you would see, kind of like in an S&M dungeon or something like that, like some kind of fetish dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
But very creepy.
Like a snuff porn or
snuff
something.
porn, yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, we never brought that up before. Snuff porn. Anyway, that'd be like a good Colombo episode there.
Snuff porn? No. There was that one episode where he did go to a porn shop, though. What was that one?
Yeah, but that was danger. Caution: murder can be hazardous to your health. Anyway, I'm sorry. What happens? Where are we with this? I can't remember.
So the murders happened. So Colombo shows up, and he's got a new jacket on. And one of the police officers says, "Excuse me, sir, you're not allowed in. It's a murder scene." And he goes, "Oh, it's I'm Lieutenant Colombo." He goes, "Oh, I didn't recognize you. You look different." And Colombo says something like, "Oh, I got a haircut." Obviously, he didn't get a haircut, but he has this new darker, like much darker brown jacket that his wife apparently bought him.
Detective Sergeant Freddie Wilson is on the job, which we've seen him before. In
Word Games. So apparently,
no, in the Greenhouse Jungle. And in Word Games.
So there is one line he says to Colombo. He's like, he says, "I know it's been a while since we worked together, but I've gained a lot of experience since our last case." And I thought to myself, and in my notes I wrote, Word Games. He was working on the Word Games in the previous episode. So, but
actually, no, it was the Greenhouse Jungle. Anyway, I like how Colombo brings his dinner with him. It's a
greasy
paper bag.
Greasy chicken. What the?
That's really gross. And he's like, "Oh, pardon me, pardon my hand. It's a little greasy. You want some chicken?" And all I can think of is, why, yes, I would love to have a piece of chicken that I don't know where it's from in your gross brown paper bag. Like, disgusting.
I would.
So
if Colombo came up to me and said, "Would you like some greasy chicken for my mysterious brown paper bag?" I'd be yes, Lieutenant. I would love a piece of chicken.
I would ask, where did you get it? Where is it from? Is it Brown's Chicken? Is it KFC? Is it Church's Chicken? Anyway, Cane's. You got Cane's over there in Dallas, don't you?
Yes.
Do you like that place?
It's okay.
I like it. I like the food, but what the fuck is it with only one sauce? Why don't
I
they
don't
give
know.
us
That
a
bothers
selection
me
of
too.
sauces?
Right? Yeah. I don't even think.
Yeah.
I don't think they have ketchup either.
They do have ketchup. There was a ketchup machine there.
Okay.
I was very disappointed. I've only been there twice, and I went there yesterday because there's one near the house, and
So anyway, so Colombo and Wilson are going over the crime scene together, and he even recognizes that he's wearing a new jacket and says how nice it looks. And as they're going over the crime scene, I guess Colombo takes his jacket off because he just can't think with it on. He puts it up on one of the chairs in Jerome's office, and he's going to go and I guess question some people. And walks out of the room without the jacket, and of course Wilson says, Lieutenant, don't forget your jacket. He keeps...
And he's going, what?
Yeah, he
Lieutenant!
gives Colombo back his... And it's almost as if Colombo was hoping no one would notice if he just left his jacket there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
there's
and
a
then he
clue.
goes... Oh, there is. What's that?
There's a good clue. He doesn't understand why... There is something I don't understand, frankly, about this. He said, Jerome was shot from the front, okay? And he's several feet away from the door. So Colombo actually acts it all out, like, okay, so if he goes to the door, he meets the murderer.
Get shot at that door, right?
He would get shot at the door. Or if he meets the murderer, come on in, walking into the he would have been shot in the back. But he was shot in the front. But why was the body face down? The body was face down and facing away from the door. How was he... I mean...
I don't know. Good point.
I know... I don't understand that at all. I tried to pay attention. Well, I did pay attention to figure out... So he was facing away from the door and shot from the front as though he were running away. But I don't get that. If somebody can explain that, please write to us at colomboconfab@gmail.com.
And if you could also explain this next scene, that would be great too. So Colombo goes to the science laboratory of Dr. Frankenstein.
Wait. I'm sorry.
What?
Going back a little bit. The clue there, because I love clues, is that Jerome must have known who was at. No, Jerome.
He let the person. No, he didn't let the person in. No, but he knew the person. Was that it?
It was actually the conclusion is that the murderer opened the door, and Jerome was facing the door when the murderer came in. That's the conclusion. But the door was locked with a special lock.
Right.
And so the murderer must have picked the lock. Colombo doesn't come with a conclusion that maybe he let the murderer in, and then they had a conversation just inside the door, and then the murderer shot him. He doesn't make... that's also a possibility, but that's the conclusion that Colombo comes down with at the scene. So now it's not making any sense to me at all. Why was the body face down and facing away from the door? I don't know.
Yeah, and it was facing a certain direction. So now we go to Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory to look at a lock. I do not understand what's going on. Is the LA Police Department really suffering from budgeting issues? Have to.
Well,
I don't
guess
know.
So.
I mean, why would you need these huge beakers of bubbling yellow fluid to look at a lockpick?
That was very interesting. I didn't think of that before, but you're right. It is like Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory. When really it would just be a guy in a fucking room with maybe a microscope or something.
Right.
I don't know what they were really overdoing it there.
Well, what was he testing? To reanimate a human being? I mean, I don't know what's going on. I mean, dry ice, billowing smoke, and it just... whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, that maybe not so accurate. There was no dry ice coming out of cauldrons or anything like that, but still, it was just an unusual scene, I thought. But we do learn that it was a very rare lock or a very specialized lock that is very hard to pick, but it was indeed picked with a very fine metal wire or something like that. So whoever picked the lock would have been an expert. And in my mind, this is the scene where Colombo automatically makes Santini his first suspect, the main one, because it's somebody who would have to be talented with picking locks.
Yes, absolutely. And the conclusion, I mean, it's possible it could be somebody else, but the obvious conclusion is that it's the magician. So he meets Santini briefly in one scene, and
he watches Santini practice on stage. I think it's funny to note that Colombo is not wearing his new jacket in this scene.
Is he wearing his old jacket, his usual jacket, at all in this entire episode?
He does at the end.
Oh, in the final scene.
But yeah, so he's watching Santini practice his card tricks, which again, obviously, it's not real magic. It's just editing a film. So it's, and that's where, and then this scene is really obvious too. Doing quick cuts.
Not to mention that the house of cards that he, builds up is obviously just some sort of a contraption that goes up out of the table. But but Santini will not tell him where he was at the time of the crime.
Because Colombo's like, obviously you were not in this chained up chest that was submerged in water for 10 minutes. I need to know, because my captain, you realize he's just a real hard ass, and he's going to want to know where you were. And I like it when Colombo uses that as a reason to get information. It's not him that needs it. It's really, his boss, and he's really, he looks through everything, and if he's not going to be happy with you being submerged in a box, can you just give me something so that I can put it in my report? So he uses that kind of, what do you call that when you blame somebody else? There's a name for that.
Scapegoat?
It's a scapegoat? No, there's another name for it.
Uses his boss. Okay.
Yeah, but that's not really the case. I mean, he's wanting to know for himself, but he'll do that sometimes, where he'll say, "Oh, my captain, he's a real hard ass. He really, he's going to ask this of me, and I can't. I've got to put something down. Can you just, But yeah, I guess scapegoat. That's the best. But yeah, what does Santini says? I'd rather confess to murder than give away my secrets, because he's a magician. He doesn't want anybody to know his magic tricks.
Now, I wrote, I always thought that it was stupid of him not to tell Colombo, because obviously there's a number of people that know about it, including the waiter who brings him his brandy every night. The waiter knows he's down there.
True.
But he does say at one point, if it really becomes necessary, I'll tell you where I was. And he also probably intends to tell the police where he was, because he's already set up an alibi for himself being in that room downstairs.
Yeah, why doesn't he just... Because he's risking so much for Colombo to mark him as a suspect. You would think, I need to get this guy off me immediately. I don't even want to entertain that thought for very long with the lieutenant. But yeah, I would have thought he would want to answer, but whatever. I guess you have to set up the next scenes that this will cause. So I like one of the things was so Colombo's saying, yeah, I really just need to know my captain. I'm just gonna want to know this. He's not gonna believe in your being stuck in a trunk for 10 minutes. So Santini says something like, so it's a question of an alibi, and there's a lot of humor in this, I thought. But Colombo says, no, it's a question on my report.
When you put it like that, that is kind of funny. But that's very interesting. And I think, and he tells Santini, do you mind if I come to your show tonight, sir? Oh yes, of course. And then Colombo goes and visits a locksmith.
Yes, another funny scene. Actually, there's just a lot of good scenes in this one. So yeah. Oh, go ahead. You were about to say something.
So we don't see his whole conversation with the locksmith. We don't exactly know why he's there, but there's a knock on the door.
Yeah.
And here comes Sergeant Wilson.
Yeah, actually, before you continue, this really bothered me, because if we go back to Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory, where Colombo asks if he can take the lock with him, and so he does. That never comes into play ever again. Why did he take the lock? Because I thought when he goes to the locksmith in this scene, he's showing the locksmith something. He wants the locksmith to comment. But no, that's not what the locksmith is working on. As a matter of fact, we never see that lock again.
Well, he says, I need it by 8 tonight. And
Right.
I think he had the locksmith make handcuffs that had a lock that was similar to the one on the door. Because he takes the lock with him in the laboratory.
Oh, that's what he's doing.
Yeah. And you remember, he's like, I need it by 8 tonight. And the locksmith is like, oh, you young people, you want everything yesterday. I'm just used to I just savor time or whatever like that. And of course, he left his coat at the police station, and somebody found it.
No, Wilson found it. So he's in the locksmith. Wilson shows up outside and tells Colombo, "Hey, I've got your jacket." And Colombo says, "Oh, leave it in the car. Put it in the car." And what does he say? He says, "Oh, I lost that. I thought someone had stolen it." And what does Wilson say? He goes, "At the police station?"
Yeah, that is pretty funny, actually. Yeah. So
Colombo, you'll find out throughout this whole episode, he's trying to get rid of that coat at any opportunity he can.
He's also fairly tolerant of Sergeant Wilson, who...
Yes.
Sergeant Wilson is not the brightest cop on the force, bless his heart. What's nice about him is that he really respects Colombo. He's not like that grumpy Sergeant Kramer who just gets annoyed with Colombo and is... who Colombo tells him to hold lamps upside down and shit like that. But Sergeant Will, he's just trying his best.
Yeah, he wants to impress the lieutenant too. I mean, he bombed with Mrs. Colombo, and trying to make her think she was crazy for believing that there was a fucking answering box. Whatever.
I think time-wise, this would be no, that would have been before this, wouldn't it? Yeah. So he. Anyway, he has got these different theories. Like, first he thinks it's the lounge singer, then he thinks it's the kitchen manager, who's a junior partner.
I just have to say something about that theory about the lounge singer. Why didn't Santini kind of push that agenda? Because he didn't want his daughter not marrying. He didn't want his daughter dating the lounge singer. You would think he would kind of try to kill two birds with one stone there.
I don't know.
Just a thought.
It was easier to blame the mob. He did have a scapegoat for the crime, the mob, and he actually tells, because the way that he kills, he left the gun at the scene of the crime. He put like a handkerchief on top of Jerome's body, like mob style shit. Colombo. This is an important scene. Colombo goes to see Santini's magic trick.
Yes,
and I think that if I was Santini in this scene, I think I would probably then... I think I would lose my temper with him, probably, but he had to maintain a professional...
No, he had to. Yeah, exactly. and I just want to say, anybody who has the DVD set, starting with this scene, moving forward, please turn your captions on. Now, when I do these reviews, I like to have the captions on, in case just to catch a name, or maybe a specific location. I like to see it, spelled out. But the background sounds that they put in the captions, there are a few funny moments, and you'll miss them.
Really?
You'll miss them because there's a lot of background noise, so you'll miss a lot in the audio. One of the things is that Santini's talking to a girl about using her ESP to contact Jerome. You hear a lot of interesting conversations in the kitchen area. So I definitely recommend, if you've got captions, use it for this episode.
So there's one, and this is important. One thing that he says is, after he talks to that girl about his ESP powers and all that, he turns around and he sees a guy at the bar and he says, Michael Lally, good to see you, or something like that. So that's Mike Lally, and I have asked you repeatedly, did you spot Mike Lally?
Okay. Well, I know. Okay, I know that. That's Mike Lally. Yes.
Yeah, okay, so his real name is Mike Lally. Now,
oh, really?
Mike Lally, he was an old friend of Peter Falk and John Cassavetes. He was in some movies, worked with them in some movies, and presumably the stage and whatnot. And because of his association with Peter Falk, he ended up being in many, many Colombo episodes. And I read an interview with his son, and his son said that he was in every episode except for the final 2. That is a going from Murder by the Book all the way through to, I don't know what the third story was. Yeah. So
can that be proved? Has that been documented by anybody?
I went to the Ultimate Lieutenant Colombo site, and they have many, many, many. They show where he's been, but there's a lot missing. Like, I don't remember him in Death Lends a Hand, but you know what? I mean, it's always as like, it's almost like a Hitchcock cameo. Like, he'll be a bartender, or he'll be an auto mechanic, or he'll be one of the photographers, or at the scene of the crime. In Negative Reaction, he was in Negative Reaction. He was, I can't remember, but he was in that. I just don't remember what he did.
Funny, huh?
But, yeah. So you from here on in, I mean, we've only got 10 or 11 episodes left. Look for him, and you'll probably find him.
That's so funny, huh?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's correct though. That he was in all but 2. I think there were a few that he may have missed, but.
So was he in the later episodes too?
No, he died in the late 70s, early 80s, before the later episodes aired.
Oh, okay.
What happened was Jack Cassidy actually said the word, "Hey, Michael Lally, how nice to see you." And Lally thought he was just supposed to sit there at the bar and do nothing, just sit in the background like he normally does. So what they did with that was they then wrote the scene where later on in the episode, Colombo talks to Lally in his gross little apartment.
Oh,
and
funny. Huh.
That scene was shot after they were done with principal photography for the rest of it, and it was directed by Peter Falk, and they put that in as like,
that you say that, it does feel slightly different.
Yes.
That scene than the rest of the episode. It does almost feel tacked on, almost like that scene with what was that one where Columbo's playing? Oh shoot! Never mind.
Or he's playing poker with all the celebrities.
No, I was thinking the one where he takes on different roles. He's changing costumes. It was one of the '90s one.
Undercover.
Undercover. Yeah, there was a scene with what was the actress's name that we always joke about?
Tyne Daly.
Tyne Daly. How that scene with Tyne Daly where she's a prostitute, like that felt so out of. I mean, it was a great scene. It just felt totally different than the rest of the episode, and this one did too. Actually, now you say that, I did recognize, and I there's no way I can prove it, but I did recognize the set that his apartment's in. It was a set I remember seeing in a few Twilight Zone episodes.
Really?
Yeah, the one specifically. Oh, I'm so bad with names today.
Today.
You're funny. But no, I do recognize that apartment. It was used in a couple of Twilight Zones.
Huh.
It has the exact. I mean, it's literally the exact same layout and everything. I mean, well, a bed or whatever would be different, but the archway in the middle is I don't know.
That's interesting. The exterior of the Cabaret of Magic is used in another episode that we haven't gotten to yet, where it's actually it's used as a funeral parlor.
Another one?
Where were we here? Yeah.
Okay, so
after he talks to Mike Lally, Colombo comes up to him and he's like, "Oh, sir, I just want to do blah 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 blah." And somebody tells Santini, "You've got 2 minutes till showtime," and Colombo still won't leave him alone. But actually, he gets Colombo a seat right at the front of the stage, which he probably regrets in a minute later.
Yes, he absolutely does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he even kind of sets up. He even sets up. Santini says, like, "I've got this trick I want to show you," but I thought he was going to show him after the show, not during the show. Which makes more sense.
Exactly.
It makes sense. He wants him to do it during the show.
Because it would force him to do it in front of all those people.
Yeah, because he's going to I think he'll recognize the lot. But yeah, let's get to that. Hold on. So I think it's funny that Colombo is sitting literally front row, and he orders his a drink. He orders a ginger ale, which again, my unconfirmed theory that he doesn't drink when he's on the job. He orders his ginger ale, and I like how he's tipping the maitre d' and Kind of, he tips people like I tip people. Like I don't want them to see what's in my pocket, so I'm like hiding to my side how much money I'm counting out, and then present it to the the taxi driver or the chauffeur or whatever. Not chauffeur. I don't have a chauffeur.
I
but
hate tipping. I hate tipping people. It's so stressful.
It is.
Not because they don't want to spend the money, but it's like, do I tip? How much do I tip? Are you supposed to tip?
All right. No,
that's why. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I interrupted your wonderful story.
I have a lot of wonderful stories. Did I ever tell you about the time with Dick Van Dyke? I was working at
no, not again. No, not again.
So, anyways, Colombo's enjoying the show, and we find out later that Santini has this kind of routine. I think the bartender says it's like clockwork. So Santini comes in the entrance instead of on the stage. He works his way, through the audience, doing tricks, producing flowers and whatever, money from his hanky and
Magician 101 shit.
Yeah. So he goes up to Colombo and he does a flaming tray. I'm not really sure what the fuck that's supposed to be. But Santini's on stage and he says, now normally as part of the show we ask for a volunteer, a beautiful woman, and then Colombo raises his hand like he's in school and he gets so excited he then stands up like Horseshack from Mr. Carter. Here, welcome back up. And he stands up and he's like, I don't know, like, and even Santini's like, okay, I guess we'll go with instead of a beautiful woman, we'll go with a beautiful man.
I would have been so angry at him for that shit. That was just so, and the way he just barrels on stage. Oh, I got something I want to show you here. Oh man,
so
that's like,
yeah,
it's like when you have a drunk heckler in a crowd.
That's what Colombo was like.
Yeah,
I think they spiked that ginger ale.
But and then on top of that, Colombo throws a monkey wrench in his works by saying, "Oh, I brought along a little trick I want to show you," and he's got those handcuffs,
which is totally unprompted. So Santini is not expecting this at all. Yeah,
yes.
And he even says, me and the boys at the office have these pair of handcuffs that no one can lockpick. It's a famous pair of handcuffs from work, and we all have a bet that Santini can't unlock those. Which, as you mentioned earlier, he had rigged. I guess it'd be, I don't know how the hell you would do that. Rig it like a door lock.
Yeah, I don't know.
Santini realizes this, so he handcuffs Santini. Santini even looks at Colombo like, I can't believe you just, you're setting me up. Because what normally I think he would have done, Santini, if it wasn't on stage, Santini would have said, oh, I can't do these. I'm sorry,
exactly,
it's a magic trick. I've never used these before. I don't know. But now he's on stage. He has to perform. So he forces Santini to actually pick these lock and get out of the handcuffs. Mm-hmm. And I like the scene that they pull. They do close-ups of Colombo and Santini. Colombo says, I knew you would do it. Or I knew you could do it. But I did find it funny, though, that Santini obviously is annoyed with Colombo. Because Colombo's trying to upstage him. Yeah. And obviously he doesn't appreciate that.
Yeah. And he says, I knew you could do it, and he winks at him. And that's the moment when Colombo thinks it's Santini.
It has to be. Yeah, because he knows how to pick the... But again, I don't know how you would fit a lock from a door into a pair of handcuffs.
I don't know either. I don't know. I'm not a locksmith. I don't even know. Whatever the mechanism was... Because he used like some sort of lockpick to open the door to Jerome's office. He presumably doesn't have a lockpick on him when he gets out of those handcuffs. And I don't know. Who knows? I guess he's established that Santini can unlock... I'm sorry, can pick locks. Uh-huh. Therefore, he's the murderer. So,
right. So anyway. he goes to his most famous trick of all, the trunk submerged in the water trick. So this is the scene this is the trick that Colombo's really interested in. So as that's happening, he goes backstage and finds some resistance from the stage manager, won't let him go downstairs, and he meets Sergeant Wilson again, coming up with his own, his own theory of who the murderer was. But during this, we find out that, yes, he does see that Santini does make his way through. You have to go through the kitchen, but he does make his way through Santini's office downstairs in the basement, and he confronts him, saying, "Oh," and I think what Santini says, "Oh, I've been expecting you." And I forgot what do they say exactly during that scene, though. Was there anything revealed? Any clues or anything was revealed in that scene?
Santini is unbelievably patient with him. I would have been like, "Get the fuck out of here! I never want to see you again. You're very rude." No, seriously, I would have been pissed off. But I think part of his plan is to eventually reveal the the trick, because he establishes his alibi. He also mentions, "Yeah, I was down here, but I don't know if he just comes out and says you wouldn't be able. I'd have to walk through the kitchen to get to Jerome's office, and also the waiter served me my brandy, so I still have an alibi," or something to that effect. I think so. There is,
and that's where Colombo learns about from the waiter that he played this number game with me. I heard his voice, but I didn't see him, but I heard him. So that prompts Colombo to go to a store, a magic store that's run by Magnificent Max. He has a. What?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
Why is that funny?
No, because you're. I see what you're doing there. You're doing from the Colombo goes to a guillotine. Is it me, or did they have the same? They had the same magic.
Yes, they did.
Except it was smaller.
So it was much smaller. Yeah, you couldn't stick your head in that one. So there's a guillotine in this episode. It's at the magic shop, and it's only big enough really to put a carrot or your hand through.
Mm-hmm.
Now the guy who's working is not the Magnificent Max. He's another actor, and I recognize his face. It's much younger, and I recognize his voice. I just can't place him.
He was in Rocky.
He was in Rocky.
No, he played the guy. He played Apollo Creed's manager in Rocky.
Did he?
He died not long after this. Yeah, I looked him up, and that was the one thing I recognized him from. Yeah.
Something
he
else.
may have. It's very likely
Like Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse or something. Like he just looks similar.
Let's see. He was. There is somebody else in here. Thayer David is his name. His Journey to the Center of the Earth, House of Darkness, Little Big Man. He played Nero Wolfe. That's interesting. The Amazing Spider-Man from 1977. Wow. Huh.
I just
Nancy Drews. No, I don't think he. Roots, Hawaii Five-0, of course. Charlie's Angels, and all your usual 70s stuff.
What's interesting?
The guy that played the kitchen manager, the junior partner, if you will. Did you recognize him?
Yes, he's been in a lot of Italian movies, especially Godfather films.
Robert Loggia. I don't know how to pronounce it.
He's been in Colombo before, right?
I don't know. Maybe.
I
don't know. Not the waiter that brought Santini his brandy.
No, I'm talking about the
waiter,
the maitre
boss.
d'. Yeah.
Yeah. He was the guy that played the piano with Tom Hanks in Big.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay.
Also dead. Him, not Tom Hanks.
You're just full of good news. That's great.
Yeah. Hey, the guy who plays the dead guy is still alive. So that's all I gotta say. Hey. This is my mafia.
So
hey.
That's so spot on. That's great. So you're just as Italian as Santini is. So there we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he goes to the magic shop, and this guy says, "Oh, stick your hand in this guillotine," and Columbo's like, "No, it's okay." So he convinces him to trust him, and he puts his hand in, and
I love it. I love his reaction.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the exact same thing that happens at the end of Colombo Goes to the Guillotine, except instead of his wrist, it's his neck. But it's the same thing. And I don't even think I don't think they even referenced this episode in Guillotine, right?
No, they hardly ever reference any episode in any other episode.
Except
in an episode.
Goes to college, right? So.
Yeah, no. Oh yeah, that's right. The gum in the waste paper basket, and also in double negative. What's it called? Double exposure. Double exposure. He says, "Oh, I was working late last night on that Hayward case." That's another episode that we haven't seen yet. But I think that the little trick that he shows Colombo, I think that was actually in Colombo Goes to the Guillotine. Not the guillotine itself, but there was a smaller version in that they put a cigar in and it chopped the cigar off. Or am I thinking of something else completely different? Or did I dream?
I think that might be in there. It's been a while since I've seen Goes to the Guillotine, but
yeah,
I think so. Yeah, because he has to show Colombo the trick before he does it at the end. Sure. Okay.
And then he goes. Is this when he goes to visit Mike Lally?
This is when he goes visits Mike Lally, and apparently he's curious because he wants to know. Obviously, he and Santini recognized each other, and he wanted to know a little bit more about their history. So apparently, Mike Lally lives in this really ghetto apartment. He leaves his door open. He leaves his door open, which is who does that? But yeah, so Colombo's walking through, and he's about to pass the door up, and he says, "Oh, hey, you remember me from last night?" And he starts questioning him.
I'm just here in my bathrobe drinking beer in bed.
He's just laying in bed drinking a beer. I mean, that's pretty much what you and I are going to end up in the next 30 years.
But the way Colombo talks to him, he does this thing where he doesn't talk down to him. He's like, "Oh, this is some place. Is this your hot plate? Yeah, I own that. Is this your TV? Yeah, I own that. But everything else belongs to the joint." And but
he keeps asking, like, why is he? I don't understand why he keeps asking. Is this yours? Do you own that? No, it's hot. I stole it. I lifted it off the neighbor. I mean, jeez. But yeah, we find out that Santini apparently had some background. When he first met Santini, he met him in, I forgot where, like.
It was somewhere in Europe. He couldn't remember himself. It may have been Hungary. It may have been Germany.
Yeah, but he had a German accent. And then the second time he met him, he had a British accent, but an American name, Arlington or Kingston or something like that. So he was able to. So you learn that Santini has the ability. One, no one knows his real name. Two, he has the ability to change his accent. And according to Lally's, he's able to do it very well. He says, as a matter of fact, because he's speaking to Colombo, he says, as a matter of fact, he probably could impersonate you. So
he also mentions that he was the head in a gaff act, which is an act where, and it's explained at the magic shop scene, where
that's right.
There will be somebody in the audience giving the magician cues on what to say through the same sort of device that Santini used to establish his alibi. It's like double information is given, and then the next scene, Colombo, we'll get to the beginning of that scene in a second, but Colombo basically questions Santini about the different names that he's used, and it's repetitive.
Well, hold on,
repetitive.
Wait. Can we, before we go there, there's one thing Colombo did in the scene with Mike Lally that I want to kind of discuss.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned earlier, Colombo doesn't really drink, and I like to think he doesn't. He doesn't drink when he's on duty, but he does drink in the scene. In this scene, he takes one of Mike's beers. Now, Mike obviously is not a man of much wealth, so that beer is not much he has. I'm sure he probably has a 6-pack, and he enjoys that 6-pack as thoroughly he can on his, in his $50 a month that he has to spend, and 40 of that being for rent. But Colombo takes one of his beers, takes a sip, and that's it. Do you think Mike Lally's thinking, that son of a bitch? He just took one of my beers and only took one sip. I mean, might as well finish it. But I'm going to have to dump it. But maybe Mike's kind of doesn't really care about germs, so maybe he drinks it anyways. But
Yeah, maybe he's like after like 3 or 4, he's like, oh, you know what? I'll drink it. It doesn't matter. I kind of did that one time in an airport bar. There was this lady.
You did not.
No, wait. Let me explain. There is this lady, and she had a beer, and it was in front of her, and she was trying to get the bartender's attention, but she said, "I have to go. I can't pay for this. I had to catch my flight," and she left. She left the beer there, but she didn't drink any of it. So I took her beer.
Did you pay
but
for
she
it?
didn't drink any of it. I know it was free beer. I didn't pay for it.
Wait, did she pay for it?
I can't remember what happened. Maybe now I'm telling the story wrong.
God.
Maybe.
Oh God.
But I don't know why she left.
You were already like 5 martinis in, so you don't remember much.
Yeah, I get drunk at a lot of airports. You know what happened to me one time when I got drunk at an airport? So many of you don't know. I am what?
Nothing,
I did fall asleep one time. I fell asleep one time and somebody woke me up. I almost missed my flight. But one time, I'm in the airport and I'm on the phone, as you do, and I come across an ad for this product that will grow your hair. And I think I may have originally clicked on it because it had a handsome young man on it who may or may not have been of Asian descent. And I clicked on it, and I ended up subscribing to a vitamin company that sends you a bottle of pills that you take for a month, and it was $79 a bottle.
Oh, you are the perfect target.
So,
oh my God,
it was called Nutrafol, and if anybody wants them, I've got them. I never opened either, and then I forgot about it. I'm like, oh, here are those pills. Okay, and you're supposed to take 4 a day, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should just return it. And then a second bottle came, and I'm like, okay, this is getting kind of expensive. But anyway, be careful when you're drunk and online shopping. Don't fall for shit.
Okay. So
where were we?
Okay, so yeah, so after Colombo talks to Mike Lally, he goes to a local steak and ale, which in my mind, every steak joint that Colombo goes to is a steak and ale because they were just so popular back then. So Santini is at the local steak and ale, and he's looking for a new assistant because his daughter is stricken with love with the lounge singer guy, which I can't think of his name. So he's looking for a new assistant. So Colombo comes in. Oh, well, actually, before he walks into the restaurant, he's outside in his car, and he has his jacket on as he's leaving. He decides to take his jacket off, puts it back in the car, and of course, Dog is in there. And he tells Dog, what does he say? He says, if someone tries to steal it, just look the other way. And of course, I'm sure Dog could care less what it says, but
yeah.
if somebody lifts it, just look the other way. But yeah, so yeah, he sees Santini in the restaurant, and kind of interrupts him trying to, I guess, I don't know what he's doing with that young lady. I'm sure he's trying to get her to go to his next show and to his bed later.
Yeah, it seems so. Yeah.
He's gonna take her on the tour.
The conversation that results from this between Colombo and Santini is superfluous because of the Mike Lally scene, which again explains the origin of the Mike Lally scene. We established that Santini went by a bunch of different names in the past.
Right. Yeah, and it's funny. He tells Colombo, he goes, surely you didn't think Santini wasn't my real name. And Colombo pulls out his notebook because he's taking notes. And he pulls to a certain page in his notebook and he shows it to Santini. He says, "See here, I put does not look Italian."
Why is that funny?
I guess because that's an Italian thing. I mean, when other Italians look at each other, it's like, it doesn't look Italian. He's got an Italian nose, but he doesn't look Italian.
So there's like an Italian radar? Like
there is, yes.
Would you call it?
There's I don't know what to call it, but it's
Italiadar?
there is, yeah. We know each other. Yeah.
Yeah. You go to Italian bars, special Italian bars, and anyway. Okay.
Well, no, it's yeah, and maybe I don't think I'm the only one, but you kind of recognize each other, and you kind of.
I don't think that you look Italian.
I really don't, but I
No.
have the name.
So, yeah, you do have the name. Where were we? Oh, yes.
I'm what you call a very attractive Italian.
Sure, I'm just gonna go with that. I'm not gonna. I'm okay. That's fine. I'm neither gonna confirm nor deny that. So we return back to Jesse Jerome's office, and Colombo's there with Sergeant Wilson. And oh wait, there's a scene in Colombo's office.
Yes,
and
don't forget that scene. Yeah, because there's
Yes.
a lot of sweaty backs in this scene. A lot of sweaty backs. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my back is sweaty right now.
Are you sitting in a leather chair? Or?
No, I'm actually just sitting
Doesn't
on
make sense, then.
I don't know.
It's not a clue.
Once you hit 40, you just fucking sweat everywhere. I swear to God, I just fucking hate sweating. Like when I was a kid, I could run for a mile. I would never sweat. Now I sweat. Oh man, I'm like a menopausal woman. I gotta have the heat or the air conditioning on like to 67 all the time, which is impossible for the house to get that hot cold since it's so hot outside. And never mind with my life problems.
Now you just sweat when you watch the guy outside mowing your yard. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know who mows the lawn. So somebody comes along and does it. I don't know.
Okay, so let's move on. So Colombo shows Wilson the number trick, right? And he demonstrates that, and Wilson is just blown out of his mind. That's incredible. And we find out that it costs Colombo like $17.25 or something for that trick. Mm-hmm. That's a ripoff. We all got it for free.
You should try it. You should try it out on people. They just
I really
make
should.
me impressed.
I really should, because that's really cool. Yeah.
Try it at work. Try it with the kids. See what happens. You never know.
And so as they decide he just needs to get some fresh air, he asks Wilson to come along with him. He's like, "Oh, I forgot my jacket." And as he passes the water fountain, there's a guy who's just, man, he's just gulping down the water from the water fountain. I mean, I don't know what's maybe it's like spurting out vodka. I'm not really sure why.
All the moisture.
No one drinks water like that at a water fountain. If I saw that, I guess they're trying to save money too by turning off the AC. I'm not really sure what's going on.
But his back is drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
And what does Colombo say? Hey, Mac! I don't know if that's the guy's name or if it's... Yeah.
But this is the scene where Colombo finally puts his jacket on. And, of course, I think this is a good indicator that things are about to fall together. That Colombo's now got his best coat on. He's going to now solve the case. That's how I interpret it. It's almost like when Superman gets his powers back. He's been stumped. He can't quite get what he's looking for, but now he's got his jacket on. Now he can really do his Columbo's thing.
Yeah, well, that's a very, very good allegory. Why, I enjoy that.
Really?
That's very
because
good.
I'm half drunk, and that's amazing that I was able to spill that out without tripping over any words. Wonderful.
Yeah. Oh.
By the way, I'm drinking this new thing. It's seltzer water with vodka in it, and they sell it at the grocery stores. And they come in different flavors. Like you can buy like a 12-pack. Comes like with lime, orange, and lemon, I think. But it's basically just seltzer water and like flavored seltzer water with something else in it. I don't know if it's vodka because I don't think they can sell that in a can. But it's really good stuff.
Well, what's the alcohol? What's it called?
It's called Truly, but there's other brands.
Truly.
Yeah, but
I've seen ads for that, I think.
Yeah, it's like the new big thing, I guess. But it has 5% alcohol. It's very nice. I've been drinking a lot of these.
I am drinking Chardonnay.
Oh, nice. But yeah, it's called a hard seltzer.
Okay. So sounds like Zima.
Zerific, yes.
We had an episode where I was drinking Zima. They had it at the
What?
Yeah, they had it at the grocery store. They sold it for they had it out for a limited time, and I bought some, and I drank it while we were recording an episode. I can't remember which episode it was, but it was a while ago.
Well, the nice thing about this is it's like no sugar, no. I mean, it's very weight conscious drink.
Really?
Yeah. I'm looking at it. There's 100 calories in a can, though.
Huh. Well, that's very interesting. You know that they sell canned wine now?
I saw that. It's disgusting. I cannot imagine. Have you tried it?
I don't. No. I understand that it's not that bad, but I don't understand why you would. Well, no, yeah, I know why. Because a lot of establishments, swimming pools, for instance, won't let you bring glass. So a lot of people bring beer. So if they don't want to bring beer, they have canned wine. Yeah, because a lot of boxed wine is not that good. But maybe you don't want to bring a whole box of wine. Maybe you just want a couple, 2 drinks. So
put it in your little cozy, and or is it a koozie or a cozy?
I think it's a koozie. I think it's a koozie.
Put it in your little koozie. Yeah.
Koozie sounds very much like coochie, though. Coochie for girls. La 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 la. Coochie.
Okay, I think we've kind of gotten off topic.
Where were we?
So Colombo and Wilson go to Jerome's office, look for, I guess, additional clues, and Santini comes up. And now Santini's pissed. He's had enough of Colombo, I guess, interviewing his friends, sticking his nose in his business. He even starts, not heckling, but he starts to make fun of
Colombo.
like Wilson. He says, "Oh, whatever Dr. Watson said." He's like, now he's making fun of Wilson. Poor Wilson. But Wilson says, we know who did the murder. We just don't have a motive. And so Santini's like, because Santini's curious now, he says, "Well, do you have a suspect?" And Colombo says, "Yes. But we don't have a motive for you yet. Or we don't have a motive for you." And then he goes, Oh, you think I'm the suspect. Okay.
Yeah, he goes, "I see. I'm the suspect. Well, I promise you I won't disappear before your very eyes. You fools."
I don't think he says "you fools." But
No, he doesn't. But then he storms out of the room.
right. And this is when Colombo, he's trying to figure out, they're in the office, why did he have his glasses out when there was no reading material? You just can't figure out what was he doing at his desk. I don't know why this is a particular sticking point for Colombo, but he's just got to be something here at this desk. He was doing something at this desk before he stood up and got shot. Mm-hmm. And so he's looking at the typewriter, and even Wilson says, "Well, maybe he was typing something." So Colombo sees this newfangled technology. When was this episode released, by the way? Was it
74-ish. I'm not sure.
So I guess
even still.
So it's not
typewriters.
Yeah, it's kind of like fax machines to us today. So a typewriter like this, not new technology, but to Colombo, this is like brand fucking spanking new. Because I guess he's used to like a part of the typewriter that goes like to the right, and then you have to sling it back. He's used to that. Yeah. So we found out with this new kind of typewriter, there's no need to sling the, I don't even know what you call it, the arm or whatever back.
I think it's called a register, actually. But
instead, it uses a golf ball looking device, which also stumps Colombo, and it uses a what do they call those ribbons? It's not a reusable. It's
a carbon ribbon.
A carbon ribbon, right? Old technology. They don't even make that stuff anymore. That's how old it is. But that's when the case breaks for Colombo. He realizes that it's recorded every single line of the message that was in the typewriter, and that's how Colombo finds out that Santini was actually Stefan. What was the name?
Mueller.
Mueller. Thank you. His name was Stefan Mueller, and that he was a Nazi, an SS Nazi from the war. So.
Well, and then we get to the final scene, in which Santini gets to the club, and he's told, "Oh, Colombo and them are up in Jerome's office," And he gets to the door of Jerome's office and he hears them talking. Yeah, Santini did it. He did it because he found out he was a Nazi. Blah, 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 blah. And then Santini's like, shit, I better get out of here. And he's blocked downstairs and everybody's
Do
there.
you think that's literally what it was Santini's head? Shit, I gotta get out of here. Okay, I'm sorry. Go on.
Well, you know. And so he's there with Colombo pops out and says, well, sir, we looked at Mr. Jerome's typewriter, and this is the carbon ribbon.
Well, no. He doesn't do that just yet. He goes, we found the alibi, and it's from this letter, and he whips the letter out of his jacket pocket like he's doing a magic trick. And I'm sure Santini's thinking, holy shit, I thought I burned that letter. Or maybe it's a copy. And so Santini does his last trick for the episode. He takes a look, he takes the letter, is reading it, and he magically burns it away. So, oh, well, what letter? You don't have a letter. And I'm like, well, that's so obvious.
The letter just burned. Like, I don't think that's a very good idea, sir. That's very
in front of all these officers. I mean, like, obviously he read something. They could document that he read that letter, and it would have been okay. Anyway, so I guess this was before they had copying machines. I'm not really sure.
No, they definitely had copy machines.
So the Colombo whips another letter out of a different pocket, whoosh, and he throws it up in the air, like he holds it in his one hand up in the air above his head, and he goes, "Oh, I've got another letter. Hey, did you want to read that one? Or I've got another." And he pulls out another, and he pulls out another. I mean, Colombo's pulling letters out of all the pockets of his jacket.
He has Wilson pull one out.
Yeah, right. So he says, "You can burn up all you want." And so I've got all the copies I need of the letter. And then to explain, I always like that Colombo explains to the murderer how he figured it out. Now in real life, he'd be like, "I've got the incriminating evidence. Take him away." Wouldn't explain anything, right? But he has to explain it for the audience, for the TV viewing audience. He has to explain to the killer how he figured it out. Or otherwise it wouldn't be a very good show. So he pulls out the ribbon. Now this is the original ribbon. If Santini was smart, he would have destroyed that because it's original. If he could have said these letters were faked and the cartridge would indicate that was what was typed from the
was typed from the typewriter, yeah. But
so if Santini
tackle
it and burn the ribbon, that's what he should have done.
Then you just have Colombo testify in court that that's what the ribbon said. That's all there is to it.
I guess so. So that's it. So Colombo solves the case. You ready to review it?
Yeah, after these messages from our sponsor.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Listen to Remco's Baby Laugh a Lot. You're listening to Baby Laugh a Lot. She's the funniest doll you've ever seen. Just push the button and she starts to giggle. Get Baby Laugh a Lot by Remco.
Okay, so I did not pay attention to numbers, but I'm going to guess 23. That you're going to pick. You picked the number 23.
Oh, because it was the apartment number to McLally's. Yes.
Yeah.
No. And there were a lot of great numbers in here, like the cost of the guillotine that was thrown out. I like that. What else? There was a number I was going to use, but you used it earlier in this recording about how much air was in the box. 9 minutes, 12 seconds. That was going to be it, but then you said it. I'm like, oh shit, I can't use that. So for tonight, we're going to use the amount of words per minute that Sergeant Wilson can type at the academy. So he could type 220 words a minute. Is that even possible?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I think my mom was a legal secretary, and I think she could do it. Or I don't know if she still can, but
that's insane. to me.
Yeah, it's pretty damn fast. And back then, you needed to type that fast because you had to type a fucking lot, you know? Because especially if you were a secretary, because they didn't have email and all that shit.
Well, they didn't have
they don't
have autocorrect spelling or anything like that. I cannot imagine.
Yeah, it was very, yeah.
So, 220.
All right. You go first.
I'm gonna go
think
first?
I went last. No, I went last time. So you go first this time.
Okay, I went last time. That's not confusing at all.
No, you went first last time.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I enjoyed this one. I really liked the writing. There was a lot of funny one-liners in here. We discussed it during this recording. There were many times where I chuckled. It was just the delivery. It was the scenes between Jack Cassidy and Falk. The scenes with, I don't know who the actor who played Sergeant Wilson, but those were funny scenes. The scene with just the jacket always showing back up. And even, it was just, there were scenes where, I guess it was at the locksmith scene, I'm thinking specifically, where Sergeant Wilson brings the jacket back and he sees, Colombo's looking out the window and he sees Wilson coming towards him, towards the shop, and the expression on his face is like, oh my God. Like, just total disappointment that
Yeah.
the jacket seems to be following him, and he's just...
It kind of mirrors the way that Colombo's murderers think of him.
Right. Well, and I wrote that there's a very funny dynamic where we see Santini is upset when Colombo is at his magic trick, his live magic trick, and he gets upstaged by Colombo. And it's funny because Santini gets upstaged by Colombo, is annoyed by Colombo. Colombo gets upstaged by Wilson and gets upset at Wilson. So there's this constant upstaging that's going on. And I really enjoyed that. I thought it was very funny. Very well done. I mean, obviously, I don't know if it was intentional or not when they were filming Colombo Goes to the Guillotine, but just to see some similar themes there. Like I said, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I think this is a really good episode. I think we've watched 2 very good Colombo episodes in a row with negative reaction in this one. Out of 220, I'm going to give this, I guess 210.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I have seen this 200 times, so I'm almost like immune to like critiquing it because I've seen it so much. There's something in this that bothers me a lot, though.
Yeah.
They can prove how Santini could have done the murder. They don't have any gotcha proof, though. There's no smoking gun or fingerprint that reveals that it's him. But then they figure out the motive. Do you know how many fucking stories there are where Colombo doesn't even find out what the motive is, yet he still has a gotcha clue? So I don't think that motive means an opportunity necessarily equate you're the murderer, because there could have been more than one person who had motive means an opportunity. That's what my problem was. But the thing is that now that it's revealed that Santini is an ex-Nazi, he's probably going to go to prison anyway. Even if he gets off for the murder of Jerome, he's going to.
Oh
have
yeah,
some
definitely. Yeah,
repercussions,
he's going to jail. Oh yeah, he's serving. I don't know if it's with the Israelis or what. He's
exactly.
going to jail.
Yeah. It probably would have been wise of him just to retire to Brazil like all the other Nazis did.
Okay.
I don't see anything wrong with this either. But it that bothers me that they rely so heavily on that motive, and that I don't like the gotcha clue, because everything else in this is pretty damn good. And also, I don't think this is Jack Cassidy's best performance.
It's not his best. No, I agree, but still quality.
That's not fair, though, for the episode as a whole. I enjoyed him much more in the other 2 episodes he was in. So I'm gonna up it a little bit from what I was originally gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 172, because overall, like, it's pretty damn solid. And it's actually a fan favorite too, more so than Negative Reaction that we talked about last time. This and Any Old Port in a Storm that's a fan favorite too. But yeah, so we're mostly, I think, on the same page. I liked that they brought Bob Dishy back as Sergeant Wilson. I think that I wish that he was in the show more. Maybe not all the time. Maybe if they had a different sergeant with Colombo each season, that would have been nice. Kind of like how Doctor Who had companions. So yeah, I'm just not going to watch this one again anytime soon because I've seen it so often. Oh,
Well,
golly.
so what would you say? What was the number?
172.
I knew you were going to think of that number. I knew it. But I do want to ask you if we could just do a quick follow-up, because I like to throw things at you, surprising. Like you don't know I'm bringing this up, but I would be curious how you would rank this compared to the other two Jack Cassidy episodes. So you've got Publish or Perish, and then you also have Murder by the Book. Out of the,
thank God, you got the names right. Okay.
What?
You
God.
got the names right.
You're welcome. So which out of all the Jack Cassidy ones do you enjoy the most? Because you said you didn't think this was the best one of his.
I don't think it was the best of Jack Cassidy. I think that it's...
If you had to watch one right now, you could only watch one Jack Cassidy Colombo episode. Which one would you want to watch immediately?
Publish or Perish.
I think
I really like that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. That it's really kind of as a really good episode. Has Miss Lysenko in it with those big teeth.
No, that's Murder by the Book.
Oh, which one did you say?
I said Publish or Perish.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, that's a good one too. But I like the Murder by the Book is my favorite, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Because of Miss Lysenko, and you've got shrimp in that one too, apparently. So
No. It was strawberries.
Was it strawberries? Yes, you're right. Yes. Strawberries.
Man, oh man.
Sugared strawberries makes Lysenko's coochie go off the chart. Oh, God. Okay, these seltzers are kind of getting to my head. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's what we usually do here.
Okay, but yeah, but Publisher Perish was a good one.
We usually do at the I almost said that's what we usually do here at the TARDIS Tavern. Oi. I'm sorry, what?
But Publisher Perish, I like his Publish or Perish. I like that one. I like that one because his character was so obnoxiously dry.
Yes,
like when he gets into the accident, he's just a jerk. But it's a fun character to watch, though.
He's a fun jerk. He was really fun in that episode. In this Now You See Him, he's a fucking evil bastard. I mean, come on, he's a Nazi. Yeah. It's just that's okay. You're evil. I hope. I think. Probably.
Yeah, there was a line when Jerome. This was at the very beginning. When Jerome's calling him out, like, you're going to pay me that $45,000, or I'm going to contact whoever and let them know about you. And he goes, and what does he say? He says something like, "Well, I was just a boy," and Jerome says, "There were no boys back then except the ones that went into the oven." I mean, that's dark. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. I do. It does make.
And then he does, and then Jerome does a Heil Hitler thing at the after he's done with them. Oh my God, that was horrible.
Yeah, you don't do that nowadays.
Could you imagine?
No. Oof.
Not unless it was a Mel Brooks movie. No.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Mel Brooks kind of like made that a joke, and then by the time we got to 2019, it's no longer. Yeah, it's kind of gotten into a new kind. It does make me wonder, though, that in those camps, there must have been people who were technically Nazis, but were just following orders.
Yeah.
And there's probably somebody that's listening to this is probably going to be highly, highly offended by that. But, not every Nazi was, what was his name? Ray Fiennes in Schindler's List, where he's just fucking... You ever see that movie? Oh.
I could not make it through the first few minutes. No, I've never seen the whole thing.
Oh, God, it's a great movie. Anyway, okay. We have...
But yeah, okay, so I think, we both like it. It's a fan favorite, like you said. Okay, great.
let's get through the feedback, and we've got a little bit of it. Let's see here. Oh, I'm making that noise. I hate that noise. When somebody's looking something up and they go... Okay.
What?
I know where we are. Okay, we got an email from Man. First name Man, M-A-N-N. Maybe that's a fake name. Anyway. Hi, Sean. It just says, hi, Sean. Hi, Sean. Love your show.
What the fuck?
Don't worry. Look, with regard to your question about actor Timothy Carey, besides Fade into Murder and Dead Weight, he also appeared in the pilot episode Ransom for a Dead Man as a cafeteria owner in all 3 episodes. Do you know what he's talking about? The guy that was the in the restaurant in Dead Weight, serving Colombo chili. He was also in Fade into Murder. He's also in. Say hello to Steve. You guys are awesome. Yeah, I'm sure that he or she said hi, Sean, because I'm the one that reads the emails. Okay, David Morse. David has a lot of time on his hands. He sent us 4 emails. I'm going to sort of go through them very quickly. He sent us information about Catwoman from the 60s on Batman. There were 3. The first...
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to guess who they were?
Julie Newmar. Eartha Kitt. And
yep.
From the 60s, though. I can't remember this.
So Julie Newmar was the first one.
Uh-huh.
I like how he says even her eyebrows had attitude. And then she was replaced by Lee Merriweather when Julie couldn't fill Catwoman's heels in the 1966 movie.
I didn't know that.
Lee Merriweather was tapped to play her iconic role. Her Catwoman accessorized with a sequined mask and curly flipped hair. And then when Newmar left the TV series in 1968, Eartha Kitt stepped into the role, becoming the first African-American to do so. While Catwoman's mask and leather jumpsuit were staples at this point, Eartha's high and poofy ponytail set her apart from the rest. And then I like this one. He sent us a second email, and this is what the subject heading says. There is a Mrs. Colombo, damn it. There is a Mrs. Colombo, damn it. I just think you like to provoke the fans like me. I'll use just 3 examples where I believe the evidence is undeniable.
Okay.
Any old port in a storm. There are several phone calls during the episode in which Columbo's talking to his wife. There's no one nearby that he could be trying to fool, and we, the audience, are the only witnesses to his conversations. He's right. An exercise in vitality. There's a phone call early on in the episode before Colombo is even awake and alert enough to fabricate a story about a non-existent wife. Add to the fact that there is no one around except, again, the audience to overhear a conversation. Colombo is responding to the impending arrival of visiting family, and Mrs. Colombo is worried about what to make for dinner.
Right, get Chinese, yeah.
Yeah, he finally suggests that he'll bring home Chinese takeout because he finds discarded takeout in the desk in the victim's office. Rest in peace, Mrs. Colombo. There's a phone call at the conclusion of the episode after the suspect has been arrested, and once again, we, the audience, are the only ones that are there to overhear the conversation. Mrs. Colombo is homesick, and Lieutenant Colombo is calling to check up on her. There's no reason in any of these instances for Colombo to deceive anyone. And unless you are suggesting he is delusional and is talking to no one on a dead line, then I believe you need to stop your nonsense.
That's pretty much my argument.
David, thank you. David, thank you. Thank you so much.
David, there is an explanation. I've brought it up before, but I don't think I'm going to repeat it. But it's, pretty much what you've said.
You were, okay, so if somebody wants to tweet what they think of Steve's Mrs. Colombo, it doesn't exist theory, you can find him at TARDIS Tavern Tit on Twitter and unleash your bile there. Steve says, I really don't. I'm not. David says,
well,
again,
you asked me to tone it down, and so I'm toning it down. I'm not.
You can say whatever you want. And David says again, I really enjoyed the Greenhouse Jungle with Ray Milland. I don't agree with Sean at all.
Thank you.
And then finally, he says, I thought Caution, Murder Could Be Hazardous to Your Health was very enjoyable. There are only a couple I don't really like. This episode had everything. I agree, too. You did not agree. So he agrees with you on one, and then he agrees with me. All right, so Patrick wrote us. Patrick T. He says, Hi, Steve and Sean. So on one of your early episodes, I think it was Ransom for a Dead Man,
Okay.
you asked how adults with no kids can go to animated movies without feeling self-conscious. I'm a single dude. Yeah. It's true, though. I'm a single dude in his early 30s with no nieces or nephews to bring along as cover, so when I want to see a Pixar or Leica movie, I just go. I kind of hate that people equate animation with kids' entertainment anyway, since anybody familiar with anime or Ralph Bakshi can tell you that's nonsense, but that's neither here nor there. I didn't get any weird looks when I went to see Into the Spider-Verse or Incredibles 2, so maybe the secret is just not giving a fuck what people think.
Probably,
I guess so. Did you see that Into the Spider-Verse?
It's on Netflix, right? So I thought,
Yes.
what the hell? Let me watch it. And I admittedly started drinking heavily just prior to watching it. So I only remember like the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I have to rewatch
that's
it.
Interesting.
I honestly,
It's not bad, but you know what? I'm just going to say that I had cataract surgery. I came home. I was under the influence of fentanyl or whatever it was that they gave me, and I watched it, and it was pretty good.
you can't
took a
watch
nap
it if you
for a
can't
while.
see. That doesn't make any sense. You listen to it.
No, it's pretty good. By the way, I found this is Patrick. By the way, I found this podcast because I listened to Sean on Classic Horrorcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of bummed that you guys never covered any Val Lewton films, but whatever. I discovered Island of Lost Souls through that podcast, and it's now one of my favorites. Well, that's cool, Patrick. Thank you. The rest in peace, Classic Horrorcast. And also, we should have done Cat People, I think. Here's somebody named Cloudy Bones. It's probably not their real name. I think this is an alias.
I hope so.
Hey, Sean and Steve. I absolutely love your podcast and binge listened while binge drinking to every single one in a shamefully brief period of time.
That's probably
I
the
am-
best way to listen to us.
Yes. I am really looking forward to
Because I make a
Swan
lot
Song.
more sense when you're drunk.
I'm really looking forward to Swan Song, Bye Bye Sky High, the Goodbye Sky High IQ.
We haven't
murder
done that
case.
one yet?
He says, I haven't been able to find the one from the Doctor Who podcast, and Murder Under Glass, my absolute favorites in the series. No, we haven't done that one yet. No. We did it on the TARDIS Tavern, but not yet for this one.
All right.
There's an expression that's often used called getting rid of the dead weight, which typically means getting rid of the things that are keeping you down or holding you back.
So you're going to talk about me now? Okay.
I had the thought while watching it. While watching it that Helen Suzanne Plachette's character was the only thing holding back the murderer in dead weight. Without her, there was absolutely nothing to even suggest a crime had been committed for a while there.
Right, yeah, because she's the only supposed witness. Though I thought he was able to prove to her, like, oh, obviously you can't... Because remember, he took her on that cruise. Not the cruise, but he took her on a boat trip. Saying, see how impossible it would have been because of the reflection off the water of the sun? I don't know.
That's interesting. I kind of like her theory here. And the entire episode was the murderer trying to find ways to somehow drop that dead weight. Mm-hmm. It was pretty unique to see a Colombo murderer having to deal with an actual eyewitness, when normally the only eyewitnesses on the show are either manufactured by Colombo as a ruse or a dog, or they're murdered by the murderer.
Right.
Thank you guys for all...
What?
I'm sorry. Thank you. I read this before, but I didn't remember that she put this. Thank you guys for all the entertainment and fun, making me regret looking up Cosby sweater and making me laugh all day long. Erica.
Yeah, thanks to Sean, he has educated me in the Cosby sweater meme as well, so... Thank you, Sean. You made this world a much worse place. Thank you.
Okay. So one more brief thing. Greg emailed us about there's a book. Excuse me. There's a book called Jigsaw. It's a 87th Precinct Mysteries. And a book by Ed McBain, and that's basically, he's pointing out that's I don't know which one. It's either it must be Undercover, because that's the one where they have the different pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. He says maybe you can understand this mess of an episode by reading the book with free trial of Kindle Unlimited. I don't have a Kindle, but
well, we're not doing free advertisement here, by the way.
Yeah, this is not. Yeah, truly, and whatever. Okay. Let's see. It's my favorite part of the show, Steve. It's the part where we take off our clothes.
Oh.
No.
Okay. And go to the bathroom?
Oh, wait. You want to go to the bathroom? Go ahead.
No, I'm fine.
I was going to say, you fucking went to the bathroom already. Gosh darn it. It's time for you to spin the swinging wheel of the 70s.
All right, let's do it. I'm so excited. We're down to, 13 more episodes?
We are down to 11 more Colombo episodes, but there might be something else that we cover.
I've got some surprises in there. Nice.
All right, we are going to watch... we are going to watch Old Fashioned Murder, starring Joyce Van Patten, the lady who played the nun in Negative Reaction.
How hilarious is that?
Yeah. Wow, I forgot about this one. So yeah, that's where we are. Old Fashioned Murder. I think that might be the last one with a female... No, we have two other female murderers. So, man, there's that one... Okay, there's... Kind of can't wait to watch this one with you, but I'm not going to say which one it is. So,
yes,
we still haven't gotten to one of my favorites yet.
Surprisingly, huh?
Yeah. So, Old Fashioned Murder. That's another later episode. All right.
All right.
Well, with that, say goodnight, Steve.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Colombo Confab podcast. To email us with a comment or question, write to colomboconfab@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @colomboconfab, and look for us on Facebook. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us some happy reviews on iTunes.
I love clues.
And the Oscar goes to...
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 Hi, my name is Sean, and I am the co-host of the Best Picture podcast. Each season, my co-host Eric and I randomly select a year and talk about the Best Picture nominees of that year, with each episode dedicated to a different movie. Did the Best Picture really win? Were there any overlooked movies? Was anything nominated that probably shouldn't have been? Listen to us and find out. Look for us wherever you can get fine podcasts.